Everything ends. A dookly do. Everything ends. Nibble on my nostrils, turkeys flying to the day. Hey, hey. Jumping on the turkeys, finding my own way. Hey, hey. Nibble on the munchkins, looking just like the day. Hey, hey. Did I do everything right? I'm pretty sure I did everything right, but we shall see. We shall see. Check one. Check two. Everything ends. If you come up from scuba diving too quick, you get the bends. Oh yeah. Everything ends. Whoa, my head is a giant dark cone of energy. Everything. I myself am a dark cone of energy. Greetings, programs. Nibble on my nostrils, turkey inside my hands. If you're scuba diving and you come up quick, you're gonna get the bands. Everything ends. I don't care what anybody says about anything. You know why? Because the Twilight albums are some of the best albums you can get. I mean, we're talking Eclipse, we're talking New Moon. Greetings, programs. My name is Hanker Infernal. Welcome to Sunday afternoon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Glad y'all could make it. Come on down. Get up in old Runehammer here. Look at this. Everything you see, all these walls, God, it's massive. Must have been built over 1,000 years ago. This is Drunkens and Dragons Runehammer right here on YouTube. Good to have you guys. Well, it's been a hot minute. I bet you thought for a second he probably moved to Barovia, disappeared into the misty veil, he did. Hasn't been seen in 25 years. Hasn't been seen in 50 years, he ain't. Vanished into old Strahd's lair, he did. Wow. That really got intense. Yeah, and if for the curious, it looks like there's a wargaming board stuck to the wall back there. And there is. Because it's my room and I can do whatever I damn well want. Yeah. Hi, guys. Wow. Okay, it's Sunday. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to sell that terrain board, and after that, it's going to be yachts, yada, yada. Anyway, definitely bringing the funk today on YouTube. I'm wasting your time with this introduction. Why am I here? Well, it's been a while. I wanted to catch you guys up on recent game exploits. Okay, it is my personal pledge and way of life to keep the internet appraised of my game playing. Why is that? I think it stands to repetition to hear this one more time on this glorious Sunday afternoon. It's been raining all stinking day here in the glorious, and did I just say glorious twice? Here in the great city of Philly, PA. It's been raining all day, and there's nothing better to do when it's just raining all stinking day than just hole up in your craft room. You get in your lair or in your basement, whatever, put on that Twilight album. You know what I'm saying? Start getting those vibes going. You're painting those little ammunition packs on your Space Marines. You know what I mean? You do a little dry brushing on your terrain. This is where I'm at right now. All day I've been in this internal monologue. How much grit is realistic grit? Is this just grit for grit's sake? Like too much grit? Is it too gritty? Because if there's no grit, it's not gritty enough. So I'm going to need more grit. I've been doing that all day. Anyway, it stands to repetition why this is my way of life, which is this ongoing, and I can't call it labor intensive, but ongoing appraisal to the internet of my goings on in the games that I play in. Why do this? Why I do this? Why you do this, Hanker Infernal? I'll tell you why. And I think current events and the modern world that we live in, which is such a huge world that we live in now, like all generalizations, all categorizations, all hot takes and quick opinions are not only cheapening by the hour, that it's just hard to say sweeping statements about things that are accurate ever, because there's just so much going on in the world right now. Even to say like today's a great day, well, it might be a great day for you or in your area and your little experience, but it might be a horrible day for somebody else somewhere. Like, it's crazy, like just generalizations and statements. It's just harder and harder for them to be, sweepingly true. And therefore, rather than chafe against that truth, rather than try to find a generalization or a categorization that can survive this brutal truth or test of reason, right? Rather than try to find that, I find it to be a healthy and happy exercise for me to just talk about my particular singular experience of doing this hilarious, fun, and evergreen hobby of ours, role playing, right? And this hobby involves writing, it involves art, it involves crafting, it involves collecting, it involves research, talking to friends, going over to friends' house, meeting new people, meeting people you've known forever for the umpteenth time, and saying hello once again, spending time together, laughing, improvising, going with the flow, being surprised, being an expert, being a beginner, being energetic, being tired, being renewed, being cooked. All of it is part of this hobby that we do. It is a very multifaceted hobby, from large chunks to small chunks, books, toys, plastic, glue, paint, speeches, videos, more books, right? There's just a ton to it. And so rather than just try to be all of that or somehow come at you as my loyal YouTube audience and the ever-growing shield wall that goes with it, the whole Runehammer community, rather than like come at you about it or ask for something or make some kind of proclamation about my stance in all this, I find it happy and healthy for me to just tell you, well, here's the games I played in. There you go. It just seems so, it's just like planting carrots, it's just not like some kind of big deal. It's just my deal. It's my shit, you know what I'm saying? And this show's not for kids. So it's okay to drop a little bit of le français, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's get started with old school essentials. Now, this is a hilarious commentary on my life right here. Okay, I'm deep in this, right? I've been writing stuff, reading stuff like, I'm a pretty good game master. I can hold my own. I can whittle a few balsa wood figurines at the game table, you know what I'm saying? With all that, I'm coming into the Dirty Jobs reconfigured. So we had, over the course of the last campaign, we lost 2 players because of sort of real life stuff. And then we had 2 new players join. And so it's no longer just the Dirty Jobs, but we had a new group that was forming. And I just said, what do y'all want to do? And I have like all my new shit, I'm like, I got my new books that I've, done in like Crown and Skull. I got the actual books before the whole world has them. They're sitting right over there. They're beautiful. I'm so proud. It's the best thing I've ever written. It's an absolute cutting edge RPG that's super innovative, that is not derivative of D&D in any freaking way. And I'm just like, dudes, yes, let's get into this. And they're like, it'd be fun. We should play old school essentials again. I'm just like, Father! Phantom Zone, Zod flies out. You know what I'm saying? But game mastering is often like a service type role. You know what I mean? So your players are excited about old school essentials. They want to play basically AD&D, sort of somewhere right between AD&D and the rules cyclopedia with the dragon spell and the rider on the front. Somewhere right in there, the splat book era, the complete handbook era, as some people know it. That's the spot that these guys like to live in. And you know what? I couldn't be happier. And you know why? Because all these generalizations are freaking false. Yo, people want to put you in a bucket. They want to say, oh, you're old school. Or say, oh, no, you're one of these sparkle trolls. I guess that's a thing people are calling each other nowadays. Yo, I'm not either one, bro. I'm me. I'm me, man. I'm into the absolute latest cutting edge shit that's happening into our hobby. And I'm into the oldest, dustiest, grognard shit you can think of. It's totally okay to be into both. I listen to freaking Amon Amarth and Enya, and yes, the Twilight albums. Deal with it. Everybody is a quilt of different surprises, and until you ask questions and get curious, like my man Ted Lasso talks about, you're never going to know. So all these generalizations and all this doo-doo flying side to side in the gorilla pen, sometimes, gets me a little worked up because I don't really buy into this generalization stuff. So there we are. I'm facing down. Whoa, we're going all the way back to old school essentials. This is crazy. Excuse me. So I have the basic rules tome. The first one, the collectors with the black and the silver, right? When OSE first came out. I really think that was the sickest old school essentials. It was like, in my mind, one book, and that there was never going to be any more books. But sadly, since OSE came out, there are now several more books, including there's like an advanced fantasy player's guide. There's an advanced fantasy rules, but there's a big blurry line of what like the book is. Okay, so I roll up on the session. It was last Monday. Session 2 is tomorrow night. That's right, weekly, y'all. Anyway, so it was last Monday. I roll up on the session. Here I am. Every player had the advanced fantasy book with the red cover, the Aerolotus red cover. And I had the silver one. So right away, I can't help my players like, oh, that's page 44. Oh, that's page 33. Of course, yes, that's page 21. I couldn't help them do that. So it somewhat slowed the character creation process, I must admit. And I got to say, old school essentials, 25 demerits on you for blurring the line. The word essentials to me means I should only need the essentials. And here I was at the table, and that perfect, crisp perfectionness of OSE to me was a bit lost, because suddenly I had these guys talking about barbarians and druids and stuff. Are these kind of derivative classes or secondary classes really the old school essential? I guess that's why the word old school gets blurry and gray and useless, right? Because some people would say, yeah, sure, barbarians are, or sure, druids are. And other people would say, no way, it's the original 4 or whatever. And you can never blend races and classes, like races used to be classes in the vintage era and stuff like this. So anyway, 25 demerits given. I still love the hell out of OSE. And this time, we're going to play it like really strict. So we hacked it right away last time. This time, we're just playing it straight up AD&D. Well, it's not quite, it's not perfect AD&D. It's somewhere in the middle, because OSE, being beautiful, does give me ascending armor class. And it has some compression like the Cyclopedia had. And that compression, I think, our group likes. But we are going to play a little more hard with how we're playing like vintage style initiative, morale, and some other stuff. So anyways, that's the preamble of like how we got back into the group with OSE. Now, they don't have a team name yet because we've only done the one session, but I think they're starting to have some team names form. It may involve a cheese pun. I don't know, but that's all Gouda with me. Yeah. Okay, so we get into the session 1 with this new group. And for those of you who are my patrons, first of all, thank you. But I took Hex issue 4. Hex is my very small, like 10-page zine that I do every month on Patreon. I took issue 4 and just basically finished it, shipped it to Patreon on Friday. Thanks for the support, everybody. Sunday night, printed it out, took the printouts to the session to play it myself. That has not happened yet in all these years that I've been Runehammer. There's often like a time displacement between like when my peoples get the stuff and I like play a thing. It's either in the future or far in the past, right? Not this time. Hex issue 4 went straight from finishing it and writing it right to the table. So I'm just like y'all. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the same challenges that all GMs face of like getting the thing, having a minute to read it, grok it, get the printout so you don't forget it, fold it in half, stuff it in your journal, go to the session, pray to whatever gods you choose to pray to help you get through one more session. So that's how we came into it. I'm not really going to talk a ton about the contents of Hex 4 because I want to save that for the patrons who throw down the couple of ducats every month to support me on Patreon. By the way, Patreon is no joke. That's how I pay like my main bills. like my house and my car and stuff like that. So thank you, you guys. That means a lot. All right, enough BS. So we get down at the table. We got 5 players. They're making characters, and right away they choose this kind of elven angle. Very surprising. These are some gruff dudes, and our new players are kind of like construction-y type dudes, right? These are burly guys with rough hands. You know what I'm saying? And they always roll in and they want to play like a magic user elf druid who's like gentle yet slightly aloof and somewhat disturbed. It's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And this isn't a generalization. This is not a stereotype. This is real shit that happens. So we get in, they make their characters. We've got some elves and a couple humans, right? These mofos never make freaking dwarves. I don't know why, because I always play dwarves, but whatever, teach their own. So they're rolling up on tied stone. They get into some stuff. 1 hour into the session. Session 1, mind you. And remember, this is old school essentials. I mean, it's AD&D. Let's just call a chicken a chicken. You know what I'm saying? 1 hour into the session, character death. Boom. You hit 0 HP in AD&D, you're dead. You're dead. There's no negotiating, no waiting a couple rounds, no freaking death saves, no D20 to see if you can roll a D20. No, nothing. And again, I'm not like saying things I think are cool or something. This is just what happened. An hour into the session, we lose one of our characters. Now, in our group, we've had a very candid, a very frank discussion about character death, which is like, yo, you just need to keep a bright attitude and, enjoy your wit or enjoy your death with fantastic role playing, a bit of wit, and making sure that everyone in the table, including yourself, is just comfortable with what just happened and get ready to whip up a new character and bring it into the story in an interesting way. So bang, this just happens. And I'll tell you, as a game master, I got some mixed feelings here. On the one hand, I'm like, dang, these Imperial Guards should not be fucked with when you're level 1. Like, seriously, like, a D10 spear attack, and you got 4 HP, bruh, and you don't have, like, some kind of mitigation plan for this? Like, do not mess with these guys. But there it was. So we did have a lot of humor with it, and Mike came back about 30 minutes later with his new character after my players got into this snafu, right? So they're going into Tidestone. They're here to try to make new friends and learn about the culture and bring something of great value back to Gardenborough, which is their hometown in the North Holds. You can learn all about the North Holds in Crown and Skull. They're here to almost be a kind of warrior anthropologist, right? And so right away, this weird situation breaks out. They got like some undead stuff going on. There's some kind of like dwarven samurai guy who's so absolute in his beliefs that he's like standing up to the guards. And my players, even though they're level 1, have like all this foolish hubris. So they get involved in this shit. One of them winds up dead. They have to hide. They disappear into the town. Turns out the town's got a lot of strife going on. They meet this cute little family that I hadn't really foreseen happening. But the cute little family is lamenting what occurred. And in time, I think I'll reveal a few more of the details here, but I do want more people to get a chance to get over to the Patreon and get Hex issue 4. So they kind of work it our way, and then our player who lost his character brings his new character in and says, what's all this commotion in here? And he's a friend of this dwarven family. The dwarven family calls upon this group of heroes to do this mighty errand. They have to, of course, answer this call, but they're also kind of like, are we getting involved in the wrong thing here? Like, we're kind of feels like these people are kind of against the ruling group of this land. Like, that might be, are we right away on the bad foot? In a way they are, man. Don't stand up to Imperial Guards, bro. Don't do it. What's up, Vorpal? Okay, so they leave town, and we have this great encounter, really the main encounter of the session with the Emerald Dead is what I call them. They are the undead who have these sort of splinters or almost like dust of emeralds that is sort of showing in their eyes. And it is this gimmick is as old as the hobby itself, right? Which is you kind of have like glowing eyes as an indicator, like you're probably like, this person's probably gone. You know what I mean? It's probably a conscious free kill right here. Not a problem. And so, you need to help these people, but no, if you just put out the eyes of the Emerald Dead, the person that used to be in there, the zombie, they come back, but with with no more eyes anymore, so they're blinded. And my players, really the main part of the second half of the whole session, my players realized that there is a mercy way to defeat these things. And at one point, I think we had like 11 of them on the board up in this snowy pass. And there's a what we call a mercy kill, right? Which is that you basically wrestle them down and put their eyes out, and even though they're blind, they live again. And before this really started happening, there was a brief discussion that was great. This is GM gold, where the players are like, if you didn't have eyes, would you still want to live? And there's one dwarf NPC who went with them on the journey. And since no one felt like they were having an answer, I spoke up and I said, of course I'd still want to live. I could still hear my daughter's voice. I could still drink beer. I could still enjoy warm bread and a good night's sleep, or the feeling of snow on my tongue on Yuletide Eve, right? And they just bought all the way into it. They're just like, yeah, just because you can't see doesn't mean you freaking need to die. Like, that's not cool. That's so ableist. That's a twisted ass view. So we got to help these people. So this battle changed from like, let's behead all these zombies. So like, we got to try to help these people. And so at the end of it, some of the zombies, because they're getting really violent, did have to go down. But I think about half of this group were, saved by blinding them. And then my dwarf NPC, who really is like a critical combat asset to my group, because remember, they're level 1, they actually employ him or use him to move these poor souls back down the mountain to town and to safety. And so they sacrificed really the biggest treasure I'd given them, which is this dwarf NPC with this big shield. And they sacrificed him to help these people get down the mountain. Now, you want an XP bonus, bro? Because this is how you get it. You don't get the XP bonus by farming rats. I've heard a joke about this. Oh yeah, it was in a recent high-profile backer kit campaign. There was a joke about carrying around a bag of rats so you can stab rats to farm XP. Right now, I don't know if that's real or if that's like some kind of stereotypical anecdote, or even maybe a way to make fun of gamers. Or so I don't know where that's coming from, but yo, where I come from, that's not how you get XP, man. You get XP by buying into the game, by being there, by emotionally believing in the story and participating instead of treating it like, button mashing, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with button mashing, video game design aesthetics, or any of that stuff. It's all fine, to each their own. But at my table, you get that big XP bonus by being there, by believing, by contributing to the gravity of the game with your emotions. And like, this play of having this dwarf take these guys back down the mountain was so great. So we went through that whole thing and they kind of resolved it. They used this big tree to smash a bunch of the emerald dead, but that doesn't kill them, right? They just kind of get pinned a little bit, right? And then you can kind of wrestle them into submission. And when you wrestle into submission, you can kind of right, and set them free, and the person returns. So, Vorpal, you got to save your questions for the end, man. Okay, so they get past this part. There's kind of a little bit of a quiet. They come up over this ridge, and there is the town of Hillstone. Yes, they journeyed from the land of Tidestone up the foothills to the land of Hillstone, because this is a dwarven kingdom, and the towns end in the word stone, so deal with it. So they're up at Hillstone, and they know that up here they need to work with this forge because of the storyline that I'm kind of obscuring a little bit. But no one's around. There's some bodies. Part of the wall around the village is shattered. They're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel too good. And then, boom, the big bad appears on the roof of the forge. And it looks like the forge has been extinguished. It's all just smoke and steam. That's not good in a dwarven village. That's not good at all. And then they're facing down this frost giant named Cragum Deadskin, who has these shards of emeralds in his eyes. And this is going to be their first big challenge. And end of session. Okay, so that was OSE Session 1 with the newly reconfigured group, and making characters in the same session. So we made characters and played about 4 encounters in about 5 hours. So absolutely fantastic. And I gotta say, I absolutely love coming back to AD&D. I love it. It's so fun, and it's such a bring back. You know, I mean, you guys know me. I live and die. I literally survive on innovating role playing rules systems. That's how I make my living. But at the same time, there's nothing. It's just so tasty just to go back to good old AD&D, rolling saves. The first roll we made in the whole, this is, I would count this as a sort of a new campaign. The first roll I had everybody make for the new campaign was save versus poison as they're getting off their boat ride to the new location. If you fail to save, you take 1 hit point of damage from like seasickness and bad food, right? Like 2 players failed to save, the other 3 made it, but they role play that throughout the rest of the session. And you know, I love that in AD&D where you just can holler for a save. You know, just yell out a save. I guess BX would be another thing that a lot of people call it. So absolutely great coming back to the old box D&D. Like, man, it's so dope. It's just great. And this is again where I want to abolish these freaking generalizations that people throw around on the internet, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like saying that there's like a grognard type of person who's like all old school and outdated and grumpy and everything. And then there's a new school person who's some kind of, you know, has a weird color of hair and is somehow anathema to older people. I don't know where all these dichotomies and these conflicts, why they're being conjured up, because they just don't exist. They're not real, man. Like, love your fellow humans. We're all complex and we're all intricate. These generalizations are freaking useless. Like, love all the people, you know. And if some word doesn't make you comfortable, then find another way to say nice things to people, bro. I think you can handle it. All right. So that was OSE. Moving on, and we're just gonna keep doing this. I'm just gonna keep telling you about things that actually happen. You know, when you get a new thing of half and half, and you pull this little John off the half and half, you know, when it's brand new cream, right? Don't throw these away, y'all. These are perfect for making tiny little hatch wheels, like to open a hatch, like on a bulkhead for your terrain. Anyway, okay, so that's the OSE recap. Now, meanwhile, as you guys know, I've got a Crown and Skull game. And just because, hilariously, just timing, I've got like OSE Monday night and played AD&D, and then the next night I'm a player, not the GM, in the Crown and Skull game. And this last game broke every expectation and every standard that I hold dear. And again, that's why the theme of today's stream is like, forget about generalizations and categorizations of people, because it's just not, they don't hold up. They're not real. They're crap. Crown and Skull, our 5th session. We're going to a festival. And I was just like, oh no, this is the worst thing in role playing. Like where I have to go to like a freaking circus or like a county fair and role play my happy ass for 4 hours when I don't even get to play Crown and Skull for another couple of days or sometimes a couple of weeks if I'm unlucky. I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to role play the circus. This shit makes me go crazy. I could not have been more wrong. It was crazy. Absolutely nuts. So we go into this thing. Our GM just invented some system out of thin air. Basically, we all have like this base sort of 12 ability that we're going to be rolling under on a D20. And this is just our ability to do the things at the festival. So right away, it's not just like some kind of morass of role playing. It was like, oh, we're going to roll some dice here. Wait a minute, what? And so please save your questions until the end. And this is why I'm so easily derailed in my brain. So we go into the festival. There's like 6 areas of the festival, and each one comes with like a Girl Scout badge if you can complete their challenges. You have to pedal the swan boat around the lake. You have to throw the ball at the like clown balloon. You have to eat a pie. You have to do the strongman competition where you hit the thing with the hammer. All this stuff. And so we basically just like a family in a mall. We just scatter, right? We just scatter. And we're all trying to do these challenges and stuff, and it was really fun. I couldn't believe that it was as fun as it was because time was so tightly constrained. And the reason we needed to do this at the festival was that everyone in town kind of did this, and for them to entrust us with the relic we need to bring Lord Hurion, which is kind of like the Deku tree, right? In Zelda, in our Crown and Skull game, we have this Deku tree-like entity that's been sickened, poisoned by an evil wizard, of course, right? Mais bien sûr, as the French would say. So we got to heal Lord Hurion, which, yes, for those of you who are paying attention, it is a very thinly veiled reference to one of the best bands in North America. Anyways, so we need to get the trust of the villagers by participating in their most precious festival to get this relic that's going to help us bring this tree being back to wellness, right? So we're doing this, we're hurrying through it and everything. And right as, maybe 90 minutes or a couple hours are kind of cresting, no matter what you're doing in a role-playing game, there's a certain point where it's, okay, that's enough, right? You need, as Luke Crane would call it, you need the turn. The turn is when things kind of switch, right? The mood either escalates or like what you thought was isn't, or things twist and change, right? I cannot be bothered to waste my time waiting. Okay, well then, I'm sorry. You can email me your question. What was it? Right. There's a point in every adventure where no matter how fun it may be what you're doing, it kind of crests in its interestingness, and you sort of, you're kind of coming over, and if things don't change, if something doesn't happen, this is a bummer of a moment. This is a downbeat. This is a little bit like, oh my God, are we going to be at this festival until 11 o'clock at night? Like, I don't know. And we're all about, I could see it on their faces. And I'm not the GM here, so I can really closely monitor player emotions because I'm also feeling them. And I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, this has been great, but this is getting a little, what? And then right then, the crescendo of of course it's right then, right? The crescendo of the festival, the procession. So these like fancy wagons all start coming in. And, I don't really like choreographed musical numbers in a movie. I mean, the Barbie movie was great, but I'm not generally a fan of those things. That's kind of what I felt was coming on. I was like, this is going to fall so flat. I mean, like in a D&D kind of milieu to do a choreographed dance number. Then the wagons are coming up. They start wiggling and shaking like there's some kind of struggle going on inside the wagons. And boosh, popping out of the wagons, we get a giant pack of kobolds. The kobolds have tied up the princess right before her big appearance at the festival. The kobolds are all like sloppy with their tactics. They're running around. They ain't got shit for hit points, but it doesn't matter because they're coming up in numbers. We're all flat-footed and scattered, not ready to fight really. No real battle plan. It's going ugly. We're kind of struggling a little bit, but then we kind of bunch up into a unit and we're like, come on, back to back. Let's take these freaking kobolds. And the battle was super, super fun. It was absolutely spectacular. I had a slight bookkeeping error on my character. I know, Hanker Infernale, Lord of the Dance, making a mistake on his own character sheet. Unthinkable. And so there we were fighting all these kobolds, and I was like, oh shit, I think I might be dead on phase 5 of this round. Like, look at this sheet, y'all. Look at this sheet. Now, my panic of thinking it was over, this was it, brought one of my homies over, and I got an emergency heal. And actually, that emergency heal kind of led to some complication. We kind of broke our strategic momentum a little bit. We still wound up coming out on top, sparing the last kobold trying to interrogate him, which don't waste your time interrogating kobolds, everybody. Don't do it. Friends don't let friends interrogate kobolds. That was a pointless use of time. But then, as the battle is receding and we kind of, I think we made it, we got to go help the princess. She's all tied up. I look at my sheet and I was like, oh man, I had a couple of skills I didn't notice there. I was actually 2 pops away from dying, not right there. And so I was like, oh man, well, we got you that heal. And I was like, it was still totally awesome. Oh yeah, you're great. Whatever. Okay, cool. So we get the princess, we help her out. She says, well done. You've saved not only me, but the festival. And like, we owe you our gratitude and all this good shit. Once we help Lord Hurion, I want you to come back with me to the Elven capital for errands mighty needing done. We're like, yes, we're fucking badasses. Session 6, and we are now somebody, bro. So the point of this session was not Crown and Skull is playing so good these days. I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy and love how it plays. It was that all these things are like things I just totally avoid like the plague and never do in my games. Festivals, tied up princesses and stuff like this. I never do stuff like this. To me, this is so corny, but it was so stinking fun and so awesome. And it's fun to tell this story, partially just because that's what happened last Tuesday, but also because it's just another piece of evidence that like these generalizations and stuff that we use to get through the day just don't hold up when it comes down to a specific moment in life. And so we don't need them. Also, I guess what you could call these sort of heuristics, right? We live by heuristics, but we're not machines. We don't need hard rules that we live by and generalizations and hard-edged categories. Those are heuristics that give us simple pathways to decisions. We don't need those so much. View the world as a continuum and as a spectrum and appreciate it in its specific aspects. Yo. Yeah. That thesis is coming off drip. All right. That's satisfying. I'll tell you, that was satisfying recapping that shit. So those are the two sessions that I've needed to recap you on. And there might be a few little details missing here and there, of course, because these are entire sessions with multiple human beings like going off and role playing. You're not going to get everything, but you're going to at least sort of get some vibes on where I've been with my games. Now, I have a third game that I'm in every week, and that is my Crown and Skull sort of forward thinking group. So these are some of my most trusted role players like Kelsey Dion, Joe Sterling, and Alex Alvarez. These guys are my sort of creative confidants. And so we are working on the future of Crown and Skull by playing it. So instead of working on it in a sort of an abstract sense, or from what I call sort of the armchair of the hobby, we like to work on it by playing it. So we are playing a campaign, which I am not really ready to tell everybody about because it reveals a little too much, of drumroll, Crown and Skull Volume 2. So that's clearly still a little ways off because Crown and Skull Volume 1 is only arriving in the middle of January on the ship. So the ship is actually somewhere in the Pacific right now, I think. So it's a little soon for everyone to be thinking about that, because Crown and Skull Volume 1 still needs to have its day in the sun, and it shall. But that's my third game every week. Epic. It's so fun playing with your most creatively trusted friends, because you can really push the envelope on nuance, I guess, on using subtlety and encouraging and openly talking about what's working and what's not, or very, very openly talking about how maybe a thing would be handled, and just, happily flowing right through it. And also, of course, since I last saw everyone here on the internet, was over hanging out at PAX Unplugged, and much love to everybody that I ran into over there, Matt and Juicy Garland, and of course, PDM and Bob Builder and Grace, and Brian and Bent Matchstick, and oh man, of course, right when you try to think of everybody, that's impossible. I saw Brian Jay Foster too, and I was like, oh, and then by the time I like kind of went after him, he had vanished into the throngs of people. That was so weird. Oh, and my man Jordan, what's up? Anyway, I really don't like PAX that much. I really don't like large cons that much. But once again, you see, all the assumptions and generalizations are out the window. I had a really, really fun weekend. My man Skip came out. Owen, what's up, dude? Nice to have a beer with you. Yeah, it was a really fun weekend. The con was really fun. Really took it in with the booths, like learned a lot about like booth craft, sort of. I think just had a different perspective. And a lot of fun shit too. Like it just fun shit to look at. A lot of new like mini kind of offerings coming up. I'm in a little bit of dice overload, so I didn't do my normal like dice shopping thing. I did hit the Warhammer booth, which was psycho. Psycho, bro. I got like two minis, two things I've never seen on the internet. Just kind of like, whoa, these are dope. Walked out of there with an $80 tab, bro. Fucking $40 for for each one of them. I was just like, man, I should have thrown this on the ground and ran for it. But I can't lie, they've been really cool builds. If you follow me, and everybody here should be hanging out with me on Instagram. I'm runehammer.games on Instagram. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to get a big following on Instagram. That's just where you can see my craft projects. It's the easiest place to throw photos. So get on over there, get a piece. And yeah, I feel you, JD, a little bit, but I'm in dice overload mode just right at the moment. I'm looking around me, and you guys don't see this side of things. This is where the crazy side is. There's a reason you always have to look at the same boring ass wall every week when I'm on YouTube. Because this shit's nuts. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's like Cthulhu screaming at you, and you look inside the mouth. Like, don't do that. Don't be that guy. That's most of what I wanted to holler at you about today. But obviously, oh my goodness, you guys, there are so many insane announcements coming for 2024. And one of the reasons maybe you haven't seen me quite as much is like from, I would say, September to now has been an absolute blitz of excitement in the community that at least the community that I roll around in. The energy in the community right now is really freaking cool. I think that 24 is going to have a coming back together. I'm feeling something. It's kind of like, it's like everybody's kind of coming out of their room a little bit in 2024. I feel like there's a really groovy energy to just want to see each other at the table again. Like, there's just something really fun coming. And like, there's sort of a new wave of creativity that I feel is coming, and it's just exciting. So you can absolutely look forward to some crazy, unexpected announcements coming in the ensuing weeks. And I will always drop them the minute they hit my brain, because I don't really withhold things and make big surprise announcements and releases and stuff. It's just not my style. I am a completely transparent sort of creator, and I just like Runehammer to be part of whatever form your hobby will take. I'm just grateful for that. So anyways, yo, games are back. Let's open this pit up. I know some of y'all are dying to get in there and throw some elbows. Get that bouncing souls on there, get some Slipknot going. Jump down in there, smack your friend upside the head just because it's a mosh pit, and it makes it okay, right? So get those questions out. Put question in all caps and holler at me. And let's do some of this Q&A business. And then when we're done, I'm going to get back to this Twilight album, New Moon. That's where I'm at. And it's hype. I got to say, you got to buy the album. That's how old school, that's how legit these albums are. You actually have to buy this thinking out. The rest is not allowed on Spotify. It's that dope. Park wants to know about Runehammer dice. Yo, we had a hiccup with the exact resin mix. So I've been a real pain in the ass with the official Runehammer polyhedral dice set. Partially because I want them to stand out from the crowd, right? There's a million dice for you to buy. So what am I going to do that's going to be interesting? So I've had a lot of very special specifications, and a couple of them have caused blunders, right? And so we've had to discover these formulae for this resin mixture that I want. And it's been a discovery process. So we should be on the final sample set right here in December. So that could mean that the guys, the big shipment of, there's 1,000 sets of these freaking things coming. And I think it's going to be right at the turn of the year. Like, it's kind of weird, but a lot of things are lining up right at New Year's. So close now, Park. Thanks for asking. And I know everybody's going to freaking love them. I have some of the botched sample sets that aren't right, and I already am starting to love them, as some of my recent posts have shown. So, oh man, I can't wait to bring these into the world. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Labyrinth Lord? I mean, definitely a sort of a call out to the old school has always been its mission. It would be fun to see it innovate and free its soul a little bit. And they always have a fun style too. They have a cool vibe. Vorpal. Okay, here, your time has finally come, my man. How do you bounce back from a really flat play session? Don't worry about it so much, man. This is a hobby. It's a game. It's paint and glue and plastic people and your friends talking about elves, right? So uh, I know that a lot of people can internalize like a crummy session to the GM, right? Like, oh man, yeah. How do I bounce back? Which is the question. I can't say that this is something that can apply to everybody out there, but I'm just like, hey, whatever. It's like I had a bad round of bowling. If you go to bowling and you screw up, you don't beat yourself up about it. You just, sometimes things in life are not maximum fun. That's just reality. So it's just kind of like, man, well, that kind of came off weird. And I know how you feel. Like I'll be walking home from D&D. I'll be like, man, that kind of, the energy was really flagging there. Just be honest with yourself about what you could improve. Bring a Red Bull next time. Make sure your energy level is really high. I think 7 times out of 10, crummy flat sessions are only caused by low energy. Seriously. It's not because mechanics or the system or the role playing or the people or what. It's just because your energy level just isn't there, or the energy level of the players. Energy is absolutely critical. So I just bounce back by saying, hey, no big deal. There's probably a couple things I could fix, and I got to remember to be hyped up, have a good time. I hope that helped to answer. So does Crown and Skull lean into wilderness adventuring? Oh, yes, it does. Hardcore. And dungeon crawling a little bit, but wilderness, absolutely. I wouldn't say equally, because I think that would just be saying my RPG does everything. I don't think I've truly gotten into like a heavy dungeon component yet, but there's 5 volumes of Crown and Skull. So, but wilderness and land travel, I pit Crown and Skull against anybody. Come at me, bro. Crown and Skull is sick. So equally, no, there is some innovative dungeon systems in Crown and Skull that use mapless mapping and stuff like that. But let me know. Grab yourself a copy. But wait, or grab the digital one. You can get that right now, or email me and I'll give you the free player's guide, whatever. We'll figure out a way to get your research done on this. Mr. GM, how excited are you to ship your first batch of Crown and Skull? There is no way to answer this question because I will explode. I will explode. For the world, because, PDFs don't really speak for me, right? And you can see Crown and Skull right up there. There it is. Wait, there. It's right there. You can see it on the shelf. I cannot freaking wait for the world to get its hands on this book. I'm so proud of it, but not maybe for the reasons that some might expect. Crown and Skull is definitely counter trend, at least if you look at what the sort of mainstream hobby seems to be interested in. This is going in a different place. This is something that's really speaking from my heart deeply, and I am really proud of it. And I hope that the world responds to it in the way that I respond to it, because if that happens, it's going to be freaking magical. So I can't wait. Thanks for the question. I appreciate the alley-oop. Kane, what's up? Kane and my main man up in here. OSE or Shadow Dark for someone who's never played either. Well, OSE gives you the vintage experience. Shadow Dark does not. Shadow Dark is like a really good vibe on a very new mechanical skeleton. And that was Kelsey's stated mission, right? So you get a very new vibe when you play Shadow Dark. There's no denying it. You get a very clean vibe, plays kind of fast and clean and simple, very intuitive, right? But with that kind of gritty dungeon crawling kind of tone. But if you want to feel vintage, if you want to play vintage, then absolutely play OSE. Yeah. And they're both great. And it's great to set them up as a juxtaposition because they should be. They're both on that level of awesome. Here we go. Jonathan Imber is up in the place. Any new or old school authors recommendations for you? Yeah, actually. Of course, I like all the classics. But I was just at this rare book fair. And God, these smell good. God, they smell good. I was at a rare book fair. They had some incredible stuff. They had a first printing of Dune for $17,000 in a glass case. really cool, rare book fair. But of course, I round up with Andrew Norton, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and a little bit of my man Michael Moorcock. But this Andre Norton stuff, the Witch World stuff, this stuff's fun, man. You want to get into some super legit old school? Check out Witch World by Andre Norton. Great stuff. Of course, Michael Moorcock, freaking legendary. And Edgar Rice Burroughs is the author of, John Carter, Mars, and all that good stuff, Princess of Mars. Definitely a certain tone, a certain style, but really is a window into kind of the fantasy mind of the 60s and stuff like that. Really, a really fun era, sort of an innocent era back then. And not just the 60s. Obviously, some of these guys span decades, right? But it's got that certain vibe. You know the covers when you see them, right? So anyways, real nice finds there. And these are PBOs. These are first printings of these. This is how it looked when it first came out. When this bad boy hit the shelves in 1968, this is exactly it. And you can smell 1968 on this bad boy. People had not walked on the moon. According to some, they still haven't. Anyway. Yeah, Vorpal. As far as new school authors, we could get a lot into books. The other book that I've been reading is this one here. The Judges Guild Deluxe Collector's Edition. No, this is not an illusion of camera work. It's actually this big. This is the collected works of the first people ever to publish adventures for D&D. All in a very large book. I will be sharing that book with the world next year in a format that will be announced soon. So anyway, just some of my stuff that I'm reading right now. What's a 1 to 2 sentence description of Crown and Skull that I could give to 5e players that I'd like to bring over? Crown and Skull is a vast and perilous world engine. That is the first thing that it is. It is a world to enter and to explore in an engine mindset. It is a vast self-building world. As far as a system, which I intuit is what you mean, it is an all-custom system. A vast amount of the game is built by the players using a point system. And it's also a very story-heavy world. There's actual short stories throughout the book. And for those of you who are already deep in Crown and Skull, which there are many, like Crown and Skull is catching on vastly quicker than Index Card RPG did. I really think that D&D players are very comfortable in Crown and Skull. But the story of Crown and Skull is something you can feel. And I know that that's just like a sort of an elevator kind of buzz pitch. But I really do stand by, I guess the common joke word you use for this is lore, right? The lore of Crown and Skull is FHAT, fat. You know what I'm saying? So get down on it and join our community. Our community is part of what makes Crown and Skull cool because everyone's so engaged with it that it grows and it takes on a life of its own. So I know that's more than 2 sentences. I think I cheated. JD, what's up, dude? What is the average airspeed velocity of unladen swallow? Oh, wait. No, that's just the joke. What's the new Warmaker looking like? Oh, well, there's a hell of an alley-oop. Okay, so you guys may have noticed there is a vast and dense crowd of wargaming miniatures over there on that shelf that have recently been completed. It is true, my wargame engine, Warmaker, has been removed from the market, and I am updating it to a 2nd edition right now after some intense mind-expanding experiences with Warhammer 3rd edition. The new edition of 40K is out, and it's a great cleanup of that system, and just made me look at my system and see like, oh, I see why people maybe were hesitant to adopt Warmaker. You know, I left so many things like loose-ended and in or open-ended. In PvP, that's not such a great idea. And so completely brought Warmaker back into the laboratory, tore off the paint and the hood, got down into the guts, and it's going to come back stronger than ever next year. It's basically a combination of a tight system and using a deck of cards. One of the biggest shortfalls in all wargaming that I've ever known is that the abilities are in books, right? And they're not always called abilities, they're called all kinds of things. But to have the abilities on a deck of cards, which can be either under your miniatures or on your wargaming table or terrain, I know that sounds like a simple fix, but man, what a game changer. So, anyways, everybody can look forward to new Warmaker next year. And we've got a testing team deployed right now working on it. All right, question. I'm wondering how hard using Crown and Skull in a separate setting would be. Your system design is something. Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Or, I don't know, E doesn't give away a lot about you as a user, but I want to try a different setting at some point from a separate book. I think if you just grab the free player's guide that's up on Runehammer.online, I think you will find it's not going to be easy to throw it into a new setting because you need to set up some nice tools for players to build things. But I don't think it's going to be hard either. And it's a project I would love to work on with you. So get on Discord, hit me up. Let's figure it out. That sounds awesome. You guys notice probably that my answers to a lot of these questions are similar, which is like, I don't have all the answers. What I have is community. What I have is smart people that, for reasons I have yet to fully understand, continue to hang out with me. So when you got like a lot of role-playing people around you, smart folks, creative folks, you can accomplish absolutely anything, and it's fun struggling through it, even if it's difficult. Yeah, nice. Warmaker 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, it is. It's Warmaker 2.0. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And again, if you want to like hear the latest, and by the way, my Discord server is freaking free to all people. This is not a pitch of some kind or some kind of a sell. But Discord really is where Runehammer lives. And I know a lot of people are using Discord nowadays to kind of build communities. And as someone who's been in online communities since before they even existed, I mean, I go back to the .edu terminal days, y'all. Discord is definitely one of the best. The forum era of the early 2000s, I think, is the closest runner-up. That was an amazing era of community on the internet. But I think Discord is bringing back what Will Wheaton called the small internet. I think we're seeing some of what the internet is supposed to be, because it's not supposed to make people pissed off, and it's not supposed to be about hot takes and advertisements and mind fucking you every day with an algorithm. That is not its purpose. Its purpose is supposed to be us, like people, just talking to each other. And that's where all the joy of it comes for me. So get in there and join, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Kuchigari, thank you. A little bit of beer money for my boy right there. Appreciate it. Putting CNS in fantasy, yeah. CNS in another fantasy setting would be seamless. That's like adding water to Elmer's glue, man. You're just going to have more glue. You know what I'm saying? But to go to a really wildly different setting, I think we would need a little bit of creative horsepower, and it would be really cool and fun. My man Park back in the house. What do you use for kit bashing your miniatures? Well, everything. Absolutely everything. I mean, I guess in the hobby, it's generally known as a bits box, right? So I have my bits storage, which is over there, which is a ton of shit. Like a lot, discarded pieces of miniatures, dead miniatures, Legos, pieces of like ship models and stuff like that. But then I also have like my active bits box, which this is my current active bits box. So you have some 3D printed miniatures. This is looks like an arm from a Gundam. Then you have a lot of like this kind of stuff, right? This is, little teeny guns and little posts and helmets and shoulder pads. Here's like a Tylenol bottle that's definitely going to be useful. All the little pieces of trash I pick up on the street, I always get like lids to make bases out of. And then anything that's like little rings and wires and tubes, I always keep some chain around. Pennies. I hoard pennies. I glue pennies to all the bases of my miniatures. And then I mix miniatures. So especially WizKids miniatures, which I don't really like. So if you have a heap of WizKids miniatures, you kind of just clip the head off one of them, glue it onto your Kit Bash miniature, prime that sucker, and like hide the seam with a little bit of green stuff or a little bit of glue, make it seamless, or a little cape or whatever, like you want to clip the arms off a guy and take the arms from a WizKids mini and stick them on there, prime that sucker, paint it. Be free, you know what I'm saying? Or if you look at my terrain, this stuff is just mainly just made out of trash. And for anybody who came to Mythicon in North Carolina, they were literally sitting there watching me in real time making my terrain out of trash. I drank my coffee cup, dried it out, cut it in half, cut the center out of the lid, and started building. It was just like, what are you doing? I was like, hey, you going to use that? How do I enjoy the holidays? Jonathan Ember. Yes, our family celebrates solstice and the Yule tide. We really just celebrate, I guess what you could call the winter festival. I would say probably one of the oldest things that people have ever done is celebrate the end of a year and sort of the beginning of winter, and hoping that it goes smoothly, right? Like a little bit of fear of winter, I think, is probably integral to the human race. And that is where, Yuletide really comes from, is well wishes and good feelings to go into, what could be a really hard time. And, be healthy and be well. Because, in the old days, a lot of people don't make it to the other side of winter, you know what I'm saying? So good feelings and happy vibes all around for winter. That's about it for me. Yeah. But, we like a little bit of spiced mead and a roast beast just like anybody else. Thomas Whitaker asks, how's Chutney? Chutney is amazing. Chutney is 3 years old, and I think this spring he's going to begin his race training. Not everybody knows this, but Chutney's father was actually the fastest dog in the state of New Jersey. It was 4 years ago. He was the state champion dog racer. Pretty crazy. His dad, y'all. His dad. So Chutney is absolute champion pedigree. So I've never seen a dog as fast as Chutney. So we're going to begin his training and see if he can win a blue ribbon like his old man. Hey, I never said WizKids is lame. I'm just not a big fan. I think WizKids is, I love it when they make miniatures that match the content that they release too. That's really cool. That gives people an all-in-one solution to play the material with cool miniatures. If you're into that, rock on. I don't think it's lame. It's just, they're just not my style. They're sort of it's a little bit of a cartoony style. And I like a really hand-done kind of style. So WizKids can rock on. I just mostly use them for kit bashing and changing and stuff. And I still have some WizKids minis that I absolutely love. So it's not a blanket statement, but they're just kind of not my style. And I don't have all of them, but I have a shit ton of them. So I guess I still have them, right? So what am I even talking about? Yeah, man. That's right, Thomas. Smitumi. What are you going to do to me? You going to Smitumi? Question. I'm hoping to run Rune Guard in January. Yes, Rune Guard. I think it's really interesting. Are you planning to do any more on it? I don't know, Smitumi. I really don't. Rune Guard is such a fringe RPG design. It's even more fringe than its origin place, which is Mouse Guard and Burning Wheel, right? That's where that idea came from. Full props to Burning Wheel, Luke Crane, and Torolfsrud. But Rune Guard is definitely not Burning Wheel or Mouse Guard. Let's be extremely clear. It is not those things. It's just that those things sent me down that rabbit hole. I don't know if I know I'll make more sessions for it. So I've already published 4 sessions for it or something on Patreon. And I love those. Like the TMNT one that I did was really fun in North Carolina. Alex played, it was actually Baron de Rop, Dungeon Masterpiece, played Master Splinter in that game and had like a really cool ending. That was like really good stuff. But I don't know. I'm not sure what the destiny of RuneGuard is. I need to see what people think of it first. I just had to speak my voice and my truth and put that out there for everybody, which is why I do a lot of the things I do, honestly. E is back. Are there rat people? I have a ton of Skaven and I love using them. I don't see any reason why not. I don't mention them in Crown and Skull. If you're talking about Warmaker for wargaming, absolutely get some Skaven in there. But yeah, just using like a wargame army in an RPG, Lord knows I am a huge fan of doing that. But Crown and Skull is very conducive to like a Skaven or a Rat People vibe. That fits Crown and Skull really, really well. I wouldn't call Crown and Skull low fantasy, but it's very like earthy, touchable fantasy. And Rat People are real like relatable. You know, they're not like high magic that you can really sort of feel when a rat person jumps on you in a tunnel and tries to steal your pouch. You know what I'm saying? Always with these rat people stealing my pouch, you know what I mean? It won't do. Yo, it's good to have all 100 of you. I don't know how YouTube works because I'm just going on and on. What are we even talking about? And y'all keep trickling in here hanging out. So good to have you. You know, we keep going. We're going to have as many viewers as the Skeletor ambient music loop, which I think is one of my most viewed videos on YouTube. It's pretty funny. I listen to that Skeletor ambient shit all the fucking time. I got to admit, I got to come clean. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good. Yeah, grimy fantasy is a great way to put it. So there's definitely some high concepts and some magic and stuff, but the grime is there. You can feel it. At least I hope. And I know that a lot of people don't really get a lot of impact from reading PDFs. So I don't expect there to be a lot of reaction to Crown and Skull until these physical books get in your hands. And when they do, when they do, I mean, you can see it. You can see it right up there. Look at just the shelf presence on this bad boy. I mean, come on now. Come on now. All right, well, what time is it? So it's only 4 o'clock. Heck, we've only been on here 1 hour. Grounded is another great word for the kind of fantasy that exists in Crown and Skull. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I'm right there with you. And you know, a book isn't just about the artifact, right? It should be an amazing thing to hold and to read and to feel. But if I do my job, it's also about utility. And this is something that's unique about role-playing books. If you don't use it, to me, I don't really care how much hype it gets. It needs to be used. It needs to be used at the table. And to me, that's the true test of role-playing material, is getting used. And you really can tell the difference when things get used and when they don't. I will say no more on that topic. Creeping in the background, David. Right on. Any more questions out there, or are you guys going to kick me out of this, John? You kicking me out of here, man? I never even got my French fries, bro. Y'all treating me like a second-class citizen. You know what I'm saying? Gee, sheesh. I have a sickness, and I have to get all the hardcovers. Well, hey, man, there is no way for me to overstate it. And, I'm not like the biggest kid on the block. I am not a super business. I am not a viral trending thing. I don't run ads. I don't do this stuff. But mark my words, I deeply believe in what I make and what I create. And I do it the hard way, basically. And I like it that way. I think it's good for the soul. And I really can't wait just to know that people are going to be right there with me. It's going to be great. Drew, what's up? Are you still using the Remarkable? Absolutely. It's right there. There it is. Still a worthy purchase. I'm thinking about getting one. I freaking love the Remarkable. I think it's the shit. Now, it definitely is all about just drawing. So don't think you're going to be getting tablet, because it ain't no tablet. It's just a drawing tool. It's really not fun to use if you're trying to like read PDFs and stuff. I find it to be very tedious for that function. But for drawing, love it. So if you're just like me and you just draw like all the freaking time, the Remarkable is fantastic. I like only Dungeons and Dragons players. Normies have no class. I'm not sure what that means. I'm just going to let that one float into the ether. I don't know what to say to that one. Thomas Whitaker's back. Is there going to be a stock of hardbacks available to purchase when they land? Dude, yes. There's a shitload of them. Like when sale opens back up on Crown and Skull, it's not like for the backers or the pre-sale people or something. No. This is not no shenanigans like that. This is a massive shipment that is coming into my warehouse to go into the world for everyone to buy. It's going to be sick. This is not some kind of a you don't get one thing. No. As many of you have figured out by now, I do not really follow the trending business model that's going around. I cut my own road, damn it. And I like it that way. So if you can dig it, get in here, man. There's a spot in the barn. Come on in. We're going to have a good old time. What's your advice on planning an Outrider weekend? Yeah. I'll tell you what. There is no more. Great question. For those who don't know, the Outriders are a group of people that come to my town, Philadelphia, PA, to play RPGs all weekend. Not a convention, but a very focused RPG retreat where all you do is cloister away in an Airbnb and just play all freaking weekend. Basically only interrupting with sleep and food. And it's freaking awesome. What's the big pitfall and what's my advice? Number one thing, leadership. If it's going to be you, there is no more, leading this gathering, own that spot as a leader. And I'm not saying this for some kind of ego or anything like that, but when there's a gathering of people, and it's like more than 10 people or something, leadership that is clear, concise, and decisive is absolutely critical. Set up the schedule ahead of time. Pick the best GMs you have at your access. Get their idea for the session they want to run. Workshop it with them. Get it the best it can be. Schedule the shit. Tell people where they're going to fucking sit. Tell them where they're going to eat. Have it all arranged. Be decisive. And this isn't so that you can feel cool. It's so that everybody coming in doesn't have to worry about anything. And they always have a spot to be. The number one thing I see go wrong with role-playing get-togethers is that there's no order and the leadership is very flimsy. None of this like, who wants to do something? What should we do? Fuck that. No way. We got limited time to hang out together, y'all. You're getting here at 4 o'clock. By 4:30, the sessions start. At 7:30, we're going to take our dinner break. And at 8:30, we're getting back at the table and we're going to play till we all pass out. Tomorrow morning, we're going to meet 9 a.m. right here in the living room, and we're going to get breakfast, and the first session starts at 10 tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, be that person, and this will so elevate your experience. It is game-changing, and I'll tell you what, it's not easy to do. It is not easy to do. Leadership is something that can be very elusive to a lot of people, and this is not throwing shade or a dig of any kind. Leadership is not easy. Leadership is standing right up in front of everybody and just taking the helm and not feeling panicky or impostery or weird about it, but enjoying it and seeing the eye-to-eye contact with the people that you are quote-unquote leading and knowing you're just one of them and just being right there with them and being open and hearing every concern and knowing everybody's name and knowing everybody's history and bringing them together. Being a beacon of friendship, not like taking glory for yourself, but lifting the glory from those around you. You can learn leadership, but it's very difficult to really master when it's learned. For a lot of people, it's an instinct. And I've been, honest, to be totally frank, criticized as being a leader for a great deal of my life, especially as a young person. My sort of gut for leadership was a constant problem for the adults that were trying to sort of put me in a box. And they would use the word leadership, like on my report cards and stuff, as a code word for not wanting to deal with me and that I'm like a problem. I'm not kidding here. So like leadership comes with some stuff. You know, there's a reason that like leaders, and I don't mean managers and bosses. I mean real leaders. There's a reason that sometimes, you know, they have a heavy vibe. You know, because it can be heavy to carry all of it and really give a fuck. But if you can do that, it makes such a huge difference when you gather a lot of people together, to just bring that leadership. And structure is part of it, but structure isn't leadership. You know, leadership is in some ways elusive. But you know, you're never going to get better if you don't try. You know, it's just like I always say, you know, you're not going to get stronger by not going to the gym. So, so you might as well get in there and start cracking. And I got to say too, the dividends of these gatherings, even when they're not, you know, ideal or optimal or whatever, are spectacular. And for the true player, the true hobby head who wants to just play games and make miniatures and make maps and have fun and see friends and roll dice, there is a lot more of that to do at a gathering than there is at a convention. So get in there. It's so focused, and you're like best forever friends with these people if you weren't already by the end of, you know, one of these weekends. So that's what the Outriders are all about. I am a huge fan of this style of get together. And you know, cons have their place too. I can see how cons are fun for everybody. I'm not the biggest fan of like giant crowds of people and stuff, but I can see why cons are fun. It's because it's a gathering of people that normally wouldn't gather. So you bump into people, and there's a chance element to it that's pretty fun. Anyway, as you can see, a topic I feel very passionately about. Yeah, right on, Patrick. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's misunderstood just by narcissistic people. I think it's just misunderstood. You know, I don't think there's a reason to have a negative outlook on those who would be critical of a leader. I'm just used to it, man. I'm 50 years old. I like ran out of fucks last year. So this is just who I am. I'm going in hard. I don't have forever left on earth. I want to do the shit that I think is fun, and I don't really have a lot of time for somebody who's going to poo-poo on it. You know, I'm not really interested. And it's nothing against them. They're fine too. Just go do your shit. I got my own shit. I don't know what to say, man. You know, which is another thing that I was saying about generalizations. You know, it's like there's a little bit of a thing that maybe we're seeing nowadays of kind of like coming at groups of people and, you know, grouping groups of people into a certain stereotype and stuff like that. And even though that part is already not necessarily true, there's a whole nother step that I just can't fathom of like why you want to give them a hard time then, you know, like, especially in our little hobby, if somebody's doing some shit that you don't do, the fuck do you care? Let them do it their way, man. Rock on. Just freaking rock on. Just because you have a freaking Zeppelin t-shirt on doesn't mean I either A, have to wear a Zeppelin t-shirt, or B, need to bag on you for wearing one. Like, freaking wear your Zeppelin t-shirt. Fuck do I care? Like, just because, yeah, it's like, I don't know, there's this thing like sort of people think others are coming at them or something. So, you know, let's just like love each other, let each other do our shit. You know, something's getting big and is really popular. That doesn't come at me in any way. I'm doing my own thing. Maybe my stuff isn't as huge and as viral and as popular as I dream it could be. That's all right. I got a great community, man. People support me so strongly. I'm doing exactly what I set out to do in life. Like, fuck. Just as long as I don't like fall down the stairs or some shit, I'm good to go. No reason to come at somebody else about their shit. So, yeah, I'm a pro people kind of dude. I like people just as they are. I want to check them out. And there's like a shit ton of them. They're all different too. It's crazy. You know, and are all people great? Are all people, you know, perfect? Absolutely not. There's some real crummy ones in this world. But I've been pretty lucky. I tend to bump into some good peeps. What's the most recent movie or book that you got inspiration from? Oh wow. Um, hmm. Well, I really liked The Master Gardener. I really liked oh, what was that one called? The Silencing. These are just, you said newest. Um, and again, these might not be things that you would expect me to say, right? These are like adult dramas. But yo, newsflash, y'all. I'm a fucking adult and I watch adult dramas. I watch movies about complex love affairs and post-war trauma and shit like that. Like, I like nuanced writing in my movies and not using, chunky clawed stereotypes to make stories. I like surprising nuanced stories that show people as they really are and stuff like that. So those are just two of the most recent things that I've watched. Hmm, Inspiration. Definitely taking some vibe inspiration from reading some of the comics that I read lately, which, as you guys probably all know, I read Conan, I read Turtles, and I read Aliens. Um, so that stuff definitely has been inspiring. Another big one was reading Warhammer Third Edition. That, I know this is weird. It's from a zillion years ago, but I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. It had a vibe that Warhammer could use more of in the present day. But I also got to say their newest edition is actually pretty sick, and their new like battle boxes are surprisingly good. But that's not what you're asking. Movies and books. Movies and books. Let me see. I watched Batman versus Superman without sound the other night, just for something to have on the tube, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I don't feel good about that. I don't feel proud, but I liked it. I liked it. Yo, G Farina, love the username. If you think the term adult drama sounds like a dirty word, you might you yeah. Grow up. The word adult is not a dirty word. That's a T-shirt. The word adult. Adult is not a dirty word. There you go. For all my grown-ups out there, my toilet water's blue because I'm grown. Anyway, G Farina, how do players and GM and the Outriders keep high energy level during the sessions? Man, what a great question. The idea sounds nice, but after a big night of a game, I'm toasted. Then don't do this. Then don't do it. If one long game night session just like you're cashed, it's going to be a little bit miserable for the next 2 days because it just keeps going and going and going. And then these people going to the local bar, you say, I'll meet you there in an hour. I roll over. They've got another game started up there. Like, shit's crazy because, you have limited time to be together and you just want to drink deep of life for those 3 days or whatever. So yeah, if you just have that inclination to get toasted after one big game night, then this probably is not going to be a lot of fun for you. But if you can tap that energy, you're going to love it. And I think the answer is not Red Bull. It's not coffee. It's actually friendship and kinship. One thing that's got to be present for these kinds of gatherings to work is real fellowship and actually being friends, not acquaintances, not sharing a game table. Being a friend with a capital F is different. That means giving a fuck about a person, listening to what they're going through, what's on their mind, caring about them, and feeling that they care about you in return. And if that simpatico starts to develop, you can keep going for days on end. Because like being with a true friend is just like what life is all about. I mean, let's face it, like love is what's making the world go round. Am I right? So if you're feeling that, and I don't think it's even about fun. Fun is definitely something you want to be happening, but I think it's more about friendship. Like you're just basking in the attention of friends. And I hope that they're feeling the same thing from me. Like I'm psyched to be around these people, to hear their thoughts, to hear their ideas, to hear their troubles, to hear about their struggles, about their travel, about what they're going back to. Everything. And when that starts building, for me, I I can bask in that for days on end. Fedrusliv. Oh, Phaedrus Live. Phaedrus Live. You could also probably try breaking up the session. Blah, blah, blah. No, don't break up sessions. You need 3 to 4 hours solid if you sit down at the table at all. That's what I'm saying. I mean, everyone does take 5. You got to have 4 or 5 take 5s in a session, of course. Everybody got to pee, get their beer and their pizza and whatnot. But yeah, still hold that standard of a 3 to 4 hour session is every single session. And then the late night ones are the ones that don't have a tail end. You can just go until you pass out, if you're into that sort of thing. What's your favorite RPG book of 2023 other than my own stuff? Well, I'm a little bit critical on 2023. I did not really go gaga for a lot in 23. Yeah, I was on a little bit of a not getting things as far as books, RPG books in 2023. I did get Tomb of the Black Sand in 2023. I'm a late adopter on that, but still think it's totally bitchin'. I did get the Judges Guild book in 2023. Absolutely love that book. I did get High Helm, Pathfinder High Helm, the new adventure path for Pathfinder, the all dwarf adventure path. Fan, but definitely not digging the kind of full color look of Pathfinder that much. The guts of Pathfinder, I actually kind of like. I like the writing style. Surprisingly, I like the game mechanics. I do think Paizo has a cool like identity that they speak to you through in the voice of the books. But I don't like these kind of kiddie books. They're like oversized and they're colorful and there's like all these little colorful decorative things flying around the text and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I do like the substance in High Helm is really cool. I got that one. Yeah. No, I gotta say, I'm super thin on really excited RPG purchases in 2023. Now, granted, I can barely remember the beginning of 2023. Shadow Dark was this year. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to get my copies. They should be here very, very soon. I want my green one. I want my green Shadow Dark. I really had hoped that Wayne Reynolds' RPG Saints book would arrive in 2023, but it has been delayed. That I'm hugely looking forward to. Oh, Vermis was fucking sick in 2023. Oh my God. Vermis 2 should be getting here any day now. They're a little bit slow on that shipping. Yeah, I don't know. Tomb of Black Sand is so good. It's on my table. Nice. That's awesome. Oh, and with OSE and everything. Oh, it's perfect. You don't like oversized decorative books? I never would have guessed. Okay. I'll take that one. I'll take that one right in the chones. Good one, Vorpal. I'll take it. I know. I'm so excited for Vermis 2. Can't wait. You going to see Godzilla -1? Yes, we were going to go tonight. We still might go tonight, actually. But then we started thinking about, it'd be cool. We ought to make some roasted squash tonight or something. So I know we're going to be cooking tonight. We might run out of time, but I can't wait to see Godzilla. Oh, and it's at one of our favorite theaters over on Broad Street. So it's going to be dope. I love Godzilla. New Godzilla show, though, on Apple Plus. Not so good, bro. I mean, still watching it. Not so good. Not so good. And wallowing in some characters that I don't like that much. Question. How are there still 83 of you crazy knuckleheads still in here? It's Sunday. Any Morat streams coming up soon? Yeah, I got to do more. You guys are going to see more of everything. I had a bit of uncertainty in life in November. You ever get in these situations? Sometimes like some big stuff that's going on in your life is in someone else's control. And you're like waiting for the outcome and it's not cool. It's like, because, if I can do something about something in my life, I'm attacking, I'm executing. Let's get it done. But if I got to like wait for somebody to give me like a big decision and I am like in a holding pattern while I wait for that answer, I tighten up, y'all. I tighten up. Like, like I barely was on YouTube at all in November. I was tight. I was tight. I gotta admit it, y'all. I was tight. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's usually just where I go into hermit mode. I like crank out miniatures and terrain and like hit that gym, eat good, breathe deep, go to bed early, get up early. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff is pretty much resolved now. So I'm feeling much more myself. December is being kind so far. I can't wait for 24. So yeah, we need to get back to the Mora, don't we? I don't know if y'all have seen it recently. You know what's weird is imagining people in the future watching this video. I mean, it's cool because we're all hanging out here together live. But if I was watching this in the future, wouldn't it be weird? I mean, these videos are so freaking long. Like, why? No one's, no wonder no one watches my channel. My videos are too long. All right, so let me show you some stuff. First of all, good grief, there's a new front page. Oh God. There's a new. Okay. Then, have you guys seen the burning wheel piece that I did? Oh, look at this page. It's just all script. Isn't that insane? Look at that. It's freaking crazy. All right. Let me try to get to the burning wheel one. Hang on a second. Oh, there it is. Oh. Here's the burning wheel that I did sitting at Burning Con in New York. Did this one. Pretty fun. And then here's the current piece that I'm working on right now. Get that done soon. Yeah. And yeah, man, the Moran is awesome. So I'm up to oh, look, there's more. Oh yeah, this one I did for Kelsey's live stream, the Pied Piper monster. I kind of did this live in front of all of her readers while she was coming up with the monster of the month. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so we need to do some more of those. Have you shared this with your mental health professional? I currently do not have a mental health professional. I handle my own biz right now. But mental health professionals, I'm definitely thumbs up on that stuff. If you're out there, Hillary Starr, you're the shit. Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap this baby up. It's been 90 minutes. I feel a growling. I feel JK growling in my stomach as the hunger grows to eat gourds and sausages. It's great to hang out with you guys and catch up. It's been a little bit of a while. So that's some of the shit that I've been getting into, y'all. Yeah, just doing hobby shit. I don't know how to really put a bow on it any more than that. Just kind of like like when things are in flux in life, that's a good time to just bring it back to the basics. Get back into I have yet to understand why this hobby is so evergreen and so interesting, but it is maybe because it just combines so many pieces. But it is. It's great, and the people keep coming back. Oh, people keep coming back. All right, well, I'm going to get back to it. I got one more Twilight album to listen to complete my 4-album experience. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get some feelings. I'm going to be in that tent. I'm going to tell Edward no. I'm going to tell Edward no. And that's how I'm going to end my evening. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. Appreciate all the questions and all the enthusiasm. Hit me up, hankerin.furnail@gmail.com. That's my email right there. You can just email my ass. Tell me what's up. Get on the Discord and holler at me. Join the dang Patreon, will ya? I got bills like anybody else, and I'm putting out good stuff every month. And grab me on Instagram, runehammer.games. That's where you can see all my painting projects. up close and personal. And, we can share emojis. Shit like that. It's going to be hype. All right. Much love out to all sentient beings, my friends, my fam, all y'all peoples. I hope you're having a little bit more better day than you had yesterday. That's about all we can ask for. And remember how we do it the Runehammer way. You find one person, you do one nice thing for them. Just a little something, give them a little cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe just clean up those little shavings when you sharpen your pencil. They get everywhere. Clean those up. Say, hey, I got you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a big thing, but if everybody just does one nice little thing for one other person, if everyone in the world did that, it'd be just a little bit more better world. All right, you guys, I will see you next time, and happy Sunday night. Enjoy yourselves. Peace.